Richie says start over. Welcome to Brews&Boxing episode 9. Thank you guys for joining us. Episode 9. With me as always, this is Filthy Rich. Filthy Rich, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing good, fellas. How are you doing?
Bart, I should rephrase that. Defending champ, Filthy Rich. All right. And then the challenger this week is Judge Jimmy James. Judge Jimmy James, how you doing?
Good. A little tired. It's all right, though. Ready
Yeah,
to do
that's
this.
my fault. That's my fault.
Gonna take that title back.
Take
it back. Not tonight, sleepy.
We started this recording a little late because of my fault, because quarantine. We had a little bar in the front yard, but that's all right. We got it going now. Jimmy James is wide awake, and we're going to start this off. You guys ready for Brews and News?
Let's do it. Ring that bell.
All right, let's ring that bell. All right, first thing we're talking about in Brews and News is we talked about for a few weeks now that Mike Tyson looks prime and awesome, by the way, ready for a comeback. And Evander Holyfield says he's coming back too. And Bob Arum says, let's put this thing together. And it sounds like they're putting it together. Filthy Rich, you think it's something else that they're going to put together. But for what it sounds like right now is Tyson Holyfield Part 3. First off, I want to ask you boys, how much you paying for that? Because we're all buying Tyson Holyfield 3. Why wouldn't we buy that? Second off, and how many rounds does Tyson finish Holyfield off this time for the first time? And third time, is this fight going to happen? Filthy Rich, we'll start with you.
Go ahead, Rich.
You want me to do this?
Yeah, you do it.
All right.
Wait,
well, before we
hold on. We need to start by popping the brew because I messed it up like these guys told me I would. All right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Brew the news. That's what we do.
Cheers.
I knew they would do that to me because I knew I was going to forget it. And that was because the front yard bar that we have.
That was rich.
In this thing. My fault. So, gentlemen, now that we've had the inaugural toast, all my fault, what do you think, Filthy Rich, about Tyson Holyfield 3?
Don't get excited for it. It isn't. Let's not forget this is just an exhibition fight for charity. Don't expect like this beating and this resurgence of Mike Tyson. I'm seeing a lot of people watching these videos and looking at his body and seeing how in shape he is. You guys, we've all seen videos of people sparring and they look good on the bags and all that good stuff, but let's not get carried away. This is not the resurrection of the Mike Tyson we remember from the 90s. Does he beat Holyfield? We don't even know if they're going to have a winner. Maybe nobody wins in this. There's not enough information out there for this Tyson Holyfield thing. If it goes through, we don't even know if this is going through yet. So hold your horses, everyone. Look, I don't want to get anyone too excited because a piece of me is pretty excited as well. But
I want to see it.
I get it. I think we all do, but don't your expectations, don't let them go through the roof. He's not going to be fighting Deontay Wilder after this fight. It's an exhibition fight. Leave it at that. It's going to charity. I'm going to go to James's house because he's going to order it for $100, and I don't have that kind of money. So, and he's a very charitable guy. So I'm going to drink his beer. I'm going to eat his food, and I'm going to try to win some Filthy 5 tonight. That's all I got. What you got, guys?
Well, first off, you ain't going to eat his food because you're a vegetarian, and Judge Jimmy James is one of the most prolific smokers of meats that I know of amongst all the people I've ever met in my life, which is plentiful. Second off, yeah, I mean, we are going to drink his thing, but he's going to, if we're going to go drink over there, Judge Jimmy James is legendarily cheap, so he's going to buy all that Tecate so for us to drink there for us if he's going to have to spend the $100 on the fight. Third off, God, I want to watch Tyson fight again because he looks so good. But at the same time, he can't fight in a real boxing match. You're right. He can't fight anybody. It's fun to watch him fight Holyfield. That would be a fun thing. That's in his range. Otherwise, I think he needs to drop down in weight class maybe. Maybe in that light heavyweight division, he could be fun to watch. But I don't know. Judge Jimmy James, what do you think about that? What do you been thinking about Tyson coming back fighting Holyfield for the third time?
Yeah, I mean, of course I'd watch it. Well, why wouldn't you watch it? Why would you not watch it? But
Well, because you
yeah,
have free Tecate at your house and you can watch
oh yeah, free Tecate.
it.
Uh, oh man, like Rich said, it's an exhibition fight. You can't have high hopes for this. I mean, I would assume there'd be some sort of a slugfest, uh, and I just hope nobody gets like seriously injured because of it. Someone takes a shot to the hip and it breaks or something like that. So, I mean, don't get super excited for it. I'd like to see it because, like I said, he does look good in videos, but it is just videos. Who knows what would actually happen? And it's probably not going to be as exciting as we're building it up to be. But
Well,
either
one
way.
thing pointed on that too is we haven't seen Holyfield yet, and Holyfield's training videos. I feel like he just jumped in this because of the Tyson hype train that happened, and I feel like that I think he's older than Tyson. Is that right, Filthy Rich?
I'm
Holyfield
not
older?
100% sure on their ages, but you are absolutely right about the Holyfield videos. Come on, do we really want to see Holyfield? I mean, I think I got a faster swing than Holyfield right now. I could
Well,
be
the only
wrong,
video we've
but
seen of Holyfield was the fact that he showed that he has 2 ears for his mask. That's the only thing that we saw from Holyfield right now, and I'd love to see Tyson fight again just because
Wow.
it's fun, but for those of us that are true fans of the sweet science of boxing, it's not a boxing match. It's a nostalgia thing, is basically what it is. It's the people that want to go out and buy the Super Nintendo thing that's coming out where you can play all the old Super Nintendo games. It's like, hey, remember when Tyson was really good and Holyfield was really good? Let's watch them fight again. I mean, it may not be something that is going to be good for boxing, but it'll be good for bringing it back into the public eye. Is that a misconception? Maybe.
Everyone needs a little nostalgia, man. It's
Yes.
gonna bring other people back, and hopefully maybe get some of these old people who think it's a different sport back into watching it. Who knows? It could do anything, but nostalgia is big time. I love nostalgia.
Well, actually, the delay that we had on the show recording nice because I was sitting in the front yard with Ryan Hype, and we were actually talking about this, and he's like, "I saw Tyson on the thing. Why couldn't he asked me? He's like, I watched on your show, but why couldn't Tyson be in a thing or the heavyweights nowadays?" I'm like, well, first off, he's got like a 40-pound disadvantage nowadays. I said, you don't realize that the heavyweight division has changed since it was when Tyson was around. Second off, he's 176 years old.
Like 54.
So, I mean, I think it's going to bring the public back in, and maybe they go, hey, I remember how much fun boxing is. Maybe I should check it out again. That'd be a good thing to do.
When's Ryan Hype gonna give the filthy fan question of the week? Ryan Hype, I'm calling you out. I want a filthy fan question of the week, man. You're a beautiful dude, just like me and Raider and Jimmy James. And I need a new episode of the cold show you guys have.
Yeah, we had one. We got to get that show back. It's called Staying Home in Minnesota. We got to get that show.
Get on that, Ryan Hype.
All right, let's move on to the next part. Actual talk about real boxing here. Actual boxing that matters. Warrington has been talking a lot of mad smack, as the kids say, to Shakur Stevenson, who we talked about as a future pound-for-pound monster coming up in the division. And Judge Jimmy James, you brought this up in the meeting that said that Warrington was saying that Shakur Stevenson hasn't fought anybody and bring him on. Elaborate a little more for that, Judge Jimmy James, about that story.
Well, Warrington is calling him out that he needs to fight him sooner rather than later. He's also stated that Shakur Stevenson is a good talent, but has thus far only faced tailor-made opponents, which have allowed him to look exceptional. So he's not saying that's not going to be a tough fight. He's also stating that he's never been in deep water situations. And he's also saying that Shakur Stevenson is talking real big about coming over to the UK and fighting him in his backyard, and nothing has been set in stone for this. So, I mean, that's a lot of talk for someone coming up. That's, Warrington's holding the belt. He's no slouch. He's no joke. But Shakur's probably going to jump up in divisions before they even fight, to be honest with you. But
So is this a fight that Shakur Stevenson should take?
I mean, it's a belt. I mean, he's the up-and-comer. Warrington's 30. Shakur Stevenson's 21. So why not? I mean, Warrington's going to be coming on like the tail end, well, not tail end of his career. He's still in pretty prime shape at 30, but I mean, if he's talking like this, and if they think they're going to win, then why not? But Warrington's one of them UK fighters who fights in the UK all the time. I'd bring it. I don't know. I guess I'd bring it to the US. I mean, if Warrington's the one that's calling him out, why don't you fight in our backyard? See how that works out for you, since you always fight in the UK anyway. But I think it would be a good fight.
Judge, who you got in that fight?
I guess it would depend. I mean, it would be close. I'd probably say if Shakur actually trains hard for it, there's a good chance that he takes him out, and not by decision. But it's going to be interesting because Warrington's also talking about doing a tune-up fight, or not even a tune-up fight. His next fight is against Zucan. So there's another relatively unknown guy who's coming up pretty hard, and he's no joke either. So he might be having to put his money where his mouth is.
Do you think he's looking too far ahead then, and looking past his opponent now and trying to get the big money fight against Stevenson? Because Stevenson would be a big money fight.
Would be. I mean, he could be putting out a hype train right now because it's going to take some time to make that deal, and he's already got another fight in the works. Maybe he takes, because that Zucan fight is still going to be for a belt, so that's going to be a bigger fight, and then go for the big dog in Shakur Stevenson and Warrington, because that'd probably be a headliner. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, friends of 2/3 of the show, Matt Seaback, would absolutely think Shakur Stevenson will win that fight. Filthy Rich, what do you think about Stevenson versus Warrington? Do you think that's a fight that Stevenson should take? Do you think Warrington's out of line? And who do you think would win that fight?
All right, you asked a bunch of questions here.
I did.
The first thing I have to address is the friend of the 2/3 of the show. I don't know if he knows the 2/3 or not, and we'll just leave him out. We'll leave him hanging, and that's fine.
He called us all at 4 a.m. the other night. I know that.
I will address this whole thing about being out of line. I don't think anything he said was wrong. I actually find it pretty accurate. The tailor-made opponents, but that is Bob Arum in a nutshell for you. I think. Yeah. I don't know what Lomachenko has done with him, because Lomachenko is getting every fight he's asked for. But some of these other Bob Arum guys.
Which one's a Bob Arum guy? Is it? Well, Warrington is, right? Or is it Stevenson?
No, Stevenson's with Top Rank. But you look. I don't want to. There's a guy on our Filthy Five list today that I don't want to mention, who's a Bob Arum guy. We don't need you guys. Go do your homework on Bob Arum guys. But a lot of these guys, I feel like, are tailor-made. I don't know if there is network disputes, and that's why they're tailor-made. I don't know if it's a Bob Arum thing. Again, Lomachenko is getting his way. Why is Shakur Stevenson getting these? They're not easy fights. He's fighting tough guys. I'll give him that, but they're a bunch of.
They're like second tier good guys. They're not like the top tier. They're like, I know what you're saying.
Something like that.
Right.
Now
they're not slouches.
But here's the thing. I take Shakur Stevenson in a Warrington fight, and I think he should go over there and take that belt. The way Kell Brook came, I believe Kell Brook came over here, snatched that belt and ran back to the UK. Caleb Truex went over to the UK and beat DeGale on his home soil.
Friend of the show.
Stevenson should go over there, take that belt, and bring it back where it belongs. America.
Well, I'll tell you this. The only thing that I have to add on that is that Bob Arum's mother and Judge Jimmy James both have the same rocking chair. I'll tell you that right.
Hey, hit that rim shot. Boom, boom.
Right. Classic.
All right, let's move on to the third round of news that we have here. Filthy Rich, you're gonna love this one because your favorite guy, Roy Jones Jr., is now training Chris Eubank Jr. in the middleweight division. Does that make Chris Eubank a contender in the middleweight division with as stacked as that division is? If you go back to our Filthy Five, I believe that was a you and me one that we did on that one where we all love, it's got Triple G in it, it's got Canelo in it. There's so many good fighters in the middleweight division. Does that make Chris Eubank move up your list, or is that just the hype train?
So let me bounce off the subject just quickly. When you talk about the Mike Tyson thing and the nostalgia, I think I'm a victim of that.
We all are.
Well, with Gennady Golovkin, I feel like I still have him ranked really high, and everyone is ranking him really low. And I think that's why I am this victim of nostalgia. I have him ranked very high because I think he still has it, and the crowd around me says, no, he does not have it. Put your head on, boy. And I get it. Like maybe I'm overranking him a little bit. As far as like Roy Jones and Chris Eubank and how Eubank will do, what I'm mostly concerned about is Eubank going to turn into one of these Adrian Broner guys where he's just not putting in the work? I really hope that Roy Jones says, if you are going to train with me, you are going to put in the work because you're not going to make me look bad. And I'm afraid Eubank Jr. is not going to put in the work. I don't know what his reputation is as far as a workhorse or not, but I would assume if Roy Jones says, come into my gym and you are not putting in the work, he's going to kick you out of the gym because he doesn't want his name associated with a boxer who is not putting in that work. And when I go back to Adrian Broner, he was supposed to be the next Floyd Mayweather, and he was criticized for not putting in the work. And now Gervonta Davis has taken over as the next Floyd Mayweather. Not to get carried away. Do I think Chris Eubank Jr. climbs up a list? Look, he needs to prove it first. He has to get those fights. He has to put in the work. But if I'm a fighter, I'm an old man. Let me tell you, I want Roy Jones to train me before anybody else.
Well, let me ask you this: Is the fact that having Roy Jones Jr. as your trainer get you enough publicity to get that big fight? Will he be able to get a fight with, say, a Canelo or a Triple G or any of those guys in the middleweight division? Is that something that boosts your what's the word, reputation a little bit, where we can make more money on that fight now? Is that something that it does or not?
Look, we just went through talking about tailor-made opponents. Eubank is going to have to get some tailor-made opponents and beat these guys and show me something in that ring, show us something in the ring. You know what Saunders did? He looked into the audience when Lemieux threw that punch. That's what we need to see. We need to see something exciting. If Eubank can offer that, that's where the big money is. But Roy Jones certainly helps, if you ask me.
I'm trying to look back at our I found it right here, our middleweight Filthy Five. That was back, I think it was episode 2 or 3. And, we got Canelo Alvarez winning. We also have Andrade, Charlo, Golovkin. Do you think that Eubank can beat any of those guys?
Again, we got to see what can Roy really do. It looks like they're just working on head movement and body movement from the videos I see. But again, I would want Roy Jones to teach me those things. If I'm going to ask somebody to help me out, I want Roy Jones to teach me head movement. I want Roy Jones to teach me body movement and footwork, hand speed, fighting with one arm behind my back, those little things. And if Eubank who's a second-generation boxer, maybe even third. But as far as I know, he only has his dad and Nigel Benn as a huge feud over there in the UK. But we know how these second-generation fighters have a reputation for being entitled. I want to see Eubank prove that he's not one of these entitled kids, and he's willing to work hard to get these big dollar fights.
What do you think, Judge Jamie James? Does Eubank go up in your rankings a little bit with Roy Jones in his corner, or is he still below in that 7 to 9, 7 to 10 range for the middleweight division?
I don't think he moves up with Roy Jones being the trainer. We'll see. He'll have to take a fight, and we'll see how he does. I mean, we saw Golovkin went from Abel Sanchez to Jonathan Banks, and I think that was one of the biggest mistakes of his career.
Don't you dare start with me today.
100% one of the biggest mistakes. Now, that whoever Eubank's trainer was before that, going to Roy Jones, like, damn, yeah, that's got to be an upgrade. I would have to assume it's an upgrade, especially with Eubank in his 30s. I think he's 30 on the nuts. I mean, he's got some years ahead of him. So if he wants to do something, get this man in your corner, learn some defense, because he already has offense.
Let me ask you this, because Filthy Rich is not a betting man, even though he has all that money named Filthy Rich. Jimmy James, I know you are a betting man, that you, much like myself, if we're in Vegas, we don't mind dropping a few dollars on a fight or a sporting event. If you see Eubank going against Charlo in that division, are you going to take Eubanks in that one if he's, say, a 2-1 underdog?
Oh, 2-1 underdog, huh?
Oh my, you degenerate, stop it. Are you allowed to say nuts on this show? You better bleep when I say it, and you better bleep it when Jimmy James says it. There's none of that on my show, on our show.
Said a lot worse.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dope.
Run that question one more time. Let me get on this. 2-1 underdog what?
If Eubank was fighting Charlo in the middleweight division, and we're sitting in a sports book in Vegas, Filthy Rich, you're just sitting there drinking and having a salad with us, but me and James are up at the sports book counter seeing a 2-1 odds on Eubank fighting Charlo. Are you going to throw it on Charlo at that would be probably minus 350 or so on the other side, or are you going to take Eubank at 2-1?
Here's the deal. Charlo wins that fight. Charlo wins that fight. It doesn't matter how much money is on the line. If you want to win, you take Charlo. Charlo beats Eubank right now.
Does he beat Derevyanchenko?
Training with Roy Jones for 1 day or 2 days or 2 weeks doesn't matter. You have to get comfortable doing what. Like, Roy's going to criticize you on your tune-up fights. You have to take a couple tune-up fights first to see if you're doing everything right. I mean, look at Tyson. We just talked about Tyson. It's good that he hits your training. Oh, he's hitting the bag really good. He's going to be the king. No, it's going to be more than just hitting that bag and moving your body and moving your head. What do you do when there's an opponent in front of you? And if you put Charlo in front of him right now, Jamal Charlo is beating Chris Eubank.
Do you think that too, James, or are you taking him at 2-1?
I mean, I'm gambling, man. It's 2-1. I'm gonna put some money on that just for the off chance that it does happen. Why wouldn't I do that? Put 100 to get 2. Why wouldn't I do that?
Does he beat Andrade? I mean, who you didn't think that?
Look, man. We'll see. Like I said, you did a trainer change, and this could be a positive or a negative. It's not going to be the same. He's either going to be better or he's going to be worse.
So let me ask you, who would he have to beat, like in a tune-up fight, that you'd raise your eyebrows up and go, all right, maybe we have to pay attention? Like, what's that middle tier guy that he would have to beat with a new trainer?
I don't know, man. I mean, you don't have many people that are, I don't know.
I mean,
looking
that
at it,
division is deep.
It is, but I mean, does he beat Derevyanchenko? Does he beat Charlo? Does he beat Andrade? Golovkin even? I mean, like, I don't know if he's going to beat them. And the guys below that really aren't much for big name fights. They're not going to be stuff that you're going to be bringing in some cash for. So
I don't think he beats Golovkin. I don't think he beats Andrade. I don't think he beats Derevyanchenko.
He's going to have to fight Derevyanchenko, Charlo, or Andrade. It would be my guess.
Derevyanchenko is probably the fight. That's probably the one that's the prove it fight right there. I think that's the one. What do you think, Filthy Rich? Is that the prove it fight?
I don't know, but it's Andrade. What's his nuts? Yeah, you better bleep that word out.
We don't have to bleep out nuts.
Really saying
nuts
that
is
a
fine
lot.
on YouTube.
Andrade. It's Andrade.
That's what I said.
Does he win? I don't know.
Andrade, I thought it's Andrade.
Well, whatever, man. I can't read.
Look, here's the thing. Just throw him against what are we at? Middleweight. Throw him at a super welterweight. Give him a guy who's at who's the guy Golovkin beat up on Cinco de Mayo? Vanez Martirosyan.
Martirosyan?
Throw Vanez Martirosyan.
So that would make your eyes turn and go, oh, well, he beat him.
No, but at least we'll see if he can apply the footwork he learned. He can apply the head movement. Not to say Vanez is going to bring that out in him, but we'll see what he can do with that.
What you're saying is you want to see the style more than who he can beat.
I got someone he can beat. You ready for this?
Who?
Amir Khan.
Oh!
Amir Khan will take that fight for a lot of money. It's a UK fight. Amir Khan will move up for it. Give him Amir Khan.
Yeah, Amir Khan. What do you mean?
Oh my God!
You better roll a graphic. You better not show me dancing like that.
I didn't even have to bring up Amir Khan this week. Of course, it was text friend Amir Khan to Filthy Rich. Who they if you guys don't know, they do text each other because Filthy Rich has all these pictures that only Amir Khan could send. You won't find them on the internet. All right, boys, we hit that one pretty hard here. I didn't expect us to go that long into it. So let's move on to the Filthy Five. You guys ready for this week's Filthy Five?
Let's do it. Let's get that belt.
Judge Jimmy James says, let's get that belt, even though he's not the champion. Rich is the champion from last week. And this week we're doing, well, that's why I guess that's why you'd say get that belt. That would make sense. I apologize. I'm sorry. I thought you meant, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. This week we're doing the junior welterweight or the super lightweight, the 140-pound division. This week we're excluding no one. There's no exclusions this week. You guys agreed. There's no one that you have to put out that we're not talking about. So everybody's in play. And as the defending champ, Filthy Rich, you have the honor of going first with your number 5 junior welterweight.
Yeah, so I will throw this out there. The only one, Maurice Hooker, was debatable, but we are going to keep him in. So the diehards out there know that we have thought about Maurice Hooker and kept him in.
We talked about it. He hasn't fought he moved up, but he hasn't fought yet.
Oh no, that's not right. He's fought
at 147.
He hasn't moved up. Yeah, he hasn't fought at his new division. I guess
he hasn't fought at 147.
That's what I'm saying. He hasn't fought at the new division that he's moved up to.
Hey, gotcha. I'll do the interpretation.
Good talk.
At number 5, I have got Victor Postal. He is the I don't know. He's the grandfather of this division. He's
older than me.
He's
older than you.
Oh boy, he has losses to like Josh Taylor and Terrence Crawford. I get it. But he has a win over Hank Lundy and, more importantly, Lucas Matisse, when both of them were like at number 1 spot in their division. 2013, 2014, 15, something like that. So I have Victor Postal at number 5. One of those sayings I'm constantly using, and I gotta probably stop using it, but I'm not going to, is that he is just better than the rest, but the other 4 I have ahead of him, I think, get past him because he is the grandfather of the active fighters in this division.
So you're saying he probably has the same rocking chair that Judge Jimmy James had.
We're winning this week.
That was one of a kind. That's one of a kind. Maybe.
I mean, I'm pretty sure my grandfather my grandmother knitted
He's hand painted.
I think that's an antique. Find that on an Antique Roadshow on PBS. But
Yeah, I'm bringing it there this weekend.
Judge Jimmy James, he's got Victor Postel at 5. Who do you got at 5? Do you have Victor Postel?
My number 5 fighter
Is it Victor Postel?
Division
Is who?
is actually Maurice Hooker. I don't believe they said he moved up. I don't think he's going to move up. I don't think he's going to fight at 147. I think he's still going to take some fights at 140. He's only got one loss, and that's to Jose Carlos Ramirez. He's beat Terry Flanagan's the biggest name that he's beat. He's got abnormally long arms for his height. I think he's like 5'11". He's got like 76.5-inch reach, which is just ridiculous. But he's a steady riser. He's got good power. I mean, he creates mismatches and takes it that he could take advantage of. But he needs to bounce back against the fight. I don't think if he moves up that he's gonna bounce back. Just with the showing that he had last week. But I still think he's a formidable opponent, especially in this division. So I think he should still stay here and probably take on somebody else, like a Victor Postal or something like that, to see if that was just a fluke, or if he actually is the real deal. But I got Maurice Hooker at number 5.
That's interesting. I didn't expect you to drop that in there, James. It's a little closer to my list. I have to point that out. I'm not saying one way or the other, but it's interesting you brought in Hooker there. He does have abnormally long arms. That is weird. He's like a gorilla. He's got the long arms and the short body frame. I mean that.
Well, he's 5'11", man. He ain't that short.
What are you, James? You're what? You're 5'10", 5'9"?
Yeah, I also don't weigh no 140 pounds either. So
no, it's true, but still, I'm just picturing that. Okay, I can see that. But your arms are not that long.
No, not even close.
All right, Judge, who you got at number 4?
At my number 4, I actually have Victor Postal. 31-2, 12 knockouts. The Iceman. He's only lost to Crawford and Taylor. That's right, Crawford. Terrence Crawford. Right. But you
realize you're trying to win my points over, right?
And I don't care about it. You guys can bash me all you want there, Kelbrook. So don't even talk to me about that. But like Richie said, man, he has beaten Matiste, Hammer and Hank Lundy, and Aiden. I can't remember that guy's first name either, but big names at the time that he beat them. So I mean, he's still a big name in this division. I think he still has some good fights left. He is 36. He is getting on the back end of this stuff. But I mean, like I said, only 2 losses, and the 2 losses to 2 real good people. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's still someone that you gotta beat him if you want to jump up in the ranks. So I've got Victor Postal at number 4.
Wait a minute. So he's only 36? Is that real?
Yeah, it's true. He's 36 years old. He's not only 36. That's getting up there.
I felt like I was younger than him. I am not. I wouldn't have beat him up in high school, but still, but still, you'd have been a freshman when I was a senior. That's depressing.
Didn't mean to burst your bubble there, but you know.
Filthy Rich was a freshman in college, and this guy was a freshman in high school. But still, I thought he was way older than that. For some reason, I thought he was 40. I really did. I trust your research. All right, Filthy Rich, what do you got at number 4?
Let me say this before I go to like my number 4. I need to.
How wrong I was?
No. Last week there was a lot of mishaps. I was way off. I had glitches and just like these little things. I don't know what happened. So for both of you guys, thanks for carrying me, and for everyone who watched and didn't troll me online or anything. I guess thanks for watching and all that other stuff. Now to get down to business here. Remember I was talking about those Bob Arum guys that are protected? Yeah, it's Terrence Crawford. He's one of the Bob Arum guys that are protected. So we're gonna retain our belt here. Number 4, I'm doing my hat reversal for Regis Prograis. Ha ha ha. I got Regis Prograis at number 4. A
2
lot
weeks
of
in a row.
say that again.
2 weeks in a row. Didn't you have him last week on your list?
Regis Prograis, no. Regis at 140. Regis Prograis at 140. I have him at number 4. He has got. Let me tell you, he's got everything. He's got the skills. He's got everything. He's the fighter I don't want to step in the ring with if I was a fighter. But I have to look at this objectively. He's only beaten like Terry Flanagan and Julius Ndongo. His one big test was against Josh Taylor, and he did not come out ahead. And yeah, that was a tournament. It was like the Super 6 version of the 140 division. He lost to Josh Taylor in the finals. Regis Prograis, don't get me wrong, is a threat. I need to see his body of work before he moves up to something like number 2. Because let me tell you,
oh, there he goes.
He probably beats. There I talk about pausing and whatnot. He probably beats Grandpa Postal, but I don't think he beats anyone else I have ranked above him. I have Prograis at number 4. What you got?
Well, first off, I'm going to say that was the front yard bar that cost me. That was your Jimmy James fight of the week last week, not on your list. I was like, well, I didn't think he'd be on your list. He was part of your fight of the week last week, right, Judge Jimmy James?
Yes, it was the Prograis Taylor fight.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I remember. I knew he was on last week's show. For some reason, I thought he was in your Filthy Five. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't have. I'll admit, I don't know much about Prograis. I've never seen him fight, so. That's why I thought, I was like, wait, that didn't make sense. But no, he was on your fight of the week.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure,
The reason why you don't see him fight is because he's knocking dudes out in the first, second, third round. His fights are over with so quickly, you don't get to see him fight. So he does have everything. I would not want to be the one stepping into the ring with him. But when he went up against Josh Taylor and Josh Taylor beat him, just the way it goes. And that's why I have him at number 4.
Right on. All right, Filthy Rich, as the champ, you have the chance to go first on your number 3 as well. Who's your number 3?
Before I get to my number 3, shout out to everybody watching these trivia shows, Raider Live. I'm not trying to kiss up to you right. I'm not trying to kiss up to you right now to try to win this belt, but man, that trivia show, man, you killed it. The subscribers are going up. I don't know if people even watch this show. If you are watching this show, tell you this, we will shout you out. Just say something. We will shout you out. Text me or something, and I'll give you a shout out next week. Follow us on Twitter.
Comment.
Brews&Boxing on Twitter. We will follow back the first 100 people or something. We'll work something out.
Yeah. Not only that, if you watch trivia this week, Judge Jimmy James had an anniversary this week. So let's give a quick shout out to Judge Jimmy James for his 5th wedding anniversary. If you watched the trivia show, you saw his wedding show and his picture up there. And well done there, Judge Jimmy James. Congratulations on your 5th wedding anniversary.
Jimmy
Thank
James,
you guys.
congrats,
Thank you
man. Fucking love you. Did I just say that? You and your wife, man. Y'all are great, man. So, and I'm really not trying to get all these bonus points to Raider Live. Raider Live, I don't care if I win or not. I have no problem losing to Judge Jimmy James. Now, to my number 3.
Hold on. One more point on that is
Here we go.
I threw that out there, and Judge Jimmy James missed the show. That's the first show he missed.
I caught it on Sunday. I caught it on
That's the very first show he missed.
I caught it on
A big shout out for him with his wedding song and his picture up there, and
we appreciate
that question that he should get right.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did.
That's all right. But you guys,
it was easy. I appreciate it. It was awesome. It was good to see that. It was unexpected. So thank you guys.
His sister-in-law was watching the show. but he was not watching.
Look, man, we had a good anniversary on Friday. What can I say?
No, I can't knock that. That's a good thing. All right. Now that we got all the lovey-feely stuff out of the way, and maybe I'll throw in that fun piano music for that. Filthy Rich, who do you have as your number 3?
Raider Live, are you gone?
I'm here.
Mm.
Can anyone hear him?
Continue the show without you. We see you moving, but
I can
we
hear you
can't
now. That was weird.
Oh, and we're back.
Okay. Oh my, what a good
What
night.
happened there?
Just play the
I don't
Benny
know.
Hill song and then the.
I will.
That's
I
you.
could see you guys talking, and you said, "Are you there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." And
Yeah, we didn't. That's all right. Let's keep it moving here.
All
Let's,
right.
let's get up. Let's back on track.
Number 3, I got Josh Taylor at number 3. I know he's number 1 in everyone's world right now, but again, let's look at his body of work. Let's take a step back, look at his body of work, and see what he's done to get there. He's beaten Regis Prograis. He's beaten like Ivan Baranchik and Grandpa Postal. So outside of that, with only, I think he has like 16 wins, maybe 18 wins, something like that. I don't think he has the body of work to have the number 1 spot. I have him at number 3. Could he beat 1 and 2? Possibly. I'm not going to completely rule that out, but I also think my number 1 and 2 guys are beating the guys in front of them. And even with like someone, I don't Judge Jimmy James, and for all you viewers, I get it. I know what's going on here. Terrence Crawford has beaten everybody in front of him. What more do you want from Terrence Crawford? What I want is the body of, not even the body of work, but the bodies in front of you. And right now, yes, Josh Taylor has beaten everyone in front of him, including winning that tournament. But I think he beats my number 1 and 2 guys. I think he beats them. I don't know yet.
well, then they should be your number 1 if he thinks you'd be thinking.
No, I actually don't know that. And when we had our Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua debate, our rankings, I had Tyson Fury 2, Anthony Joshua 1. I think Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua has beaten some really tough competitors. Half those guys Anthony Joshua has fought were top 10 rankings according to Ring Magazine. So with Josh Taylor, I'm putting him at 3. I think he's a deserving 3. I don't know if he's a deserving 1, but the guys I have at 1 and 2, I don't count them out. They deserve to be 1 and 2.
Josh Taylor coming off a good win against Prograis recently. A split decision or majority decision, I believe. 2 had it as for him, and then 1 had it as a draw. But yeah, Josh Taylor's great fighter. I was actually surprised. I thought you'd have Prograis in front of him.
Well, I'm the champ. I know this. I know this stuff.
You convinced me. You convinced me. All right, Judge Jimmy James, who you got at 3?
Well, at number 3 in my list, I have Josh Taylor.
Wow.
I also have him down at number 3. I'm actually really, because I threw Hooker in here at the end, at the beginning. I'm really curious to see who your number 1 and 2 are, Richie, because I'm surprised to see Taylor this low on your
I thought
list.
Taylor had a chance to be a BAB champion, to tell you the truth, coming into this week. I thought we have a BAB champion, but maybe not.
We still may.
We may, but I thought it'd be Josh Taylor.
Yeah, I'm a little. I'm interested to see who your number 2 is. But yeah, just like Richie said, he beat Prograis, Baranchuk, Postal. Some interesting side notes that Taylor was actually a Taekwondo champion before turning to boxing at 15, which is interesting.
So it was good.
He started pretty late. I mean, 15 is, I guess, right in that middle range. Usually people start a little earlier than that, but like, again, he's decent defense, solid puncher, decent counter puncher, but he's another UK fighter. And to be honest, I don't know if he really won that fight. I think for me, it's a controversial win. I would like to see a rematch of that in the States instead of in London. That's what I'd like to see, because I think those guys need to have another fight, and a better fight than that first showing. But I have Josh Taylor as my number 3.
Well, here's what I find interesting about that is that Richie has Prograis already in his list at 4. Taylor fought Prograis and beat him, but Prograis not in your list yet, and that was your fight of the week last week, Judge Jimmy James. So I'm interested to see if you have Prograis in front of him. Don't know if you do or not. I'd be interested to hear your argument if you do, but it's your number 2 right now, Judge Jimmy James. Who do you got as your number 2?
I guess we're going to just slide right into that one pretty quick, because at my number 2, I got Regis Prograis.
Whoa, there you go. The guy that just lost the fight to Josh Taylor.
A controversial loss. Like I said, he is 24-1. He has 20 knockouts. That's 83% knockout rate. He is the most dangerous puncher in this division right now, as in terms of power. Another interesting side note about this guy too, he actually, when he was 16, relocated to Houston, Texas, when Hurricane Katrina came out, and started training alongside Evander Holyfield, the guy we've been talking about trying to make a comeback earlier in the show. And that likely turned him to take boxing really seriously. So, and obviously glad he did, because he's putting on a show for all of us.
Yeah.
But he's beat Relic, Flanagan, and Indongo, which are fairly big names in the division, but there's still nothing crazy. Like I said just a second ago, I want to see a rematch with him and Taylor, and I'd like to see it in somewhere other than the UK. But that right there, number 2, I think he beats Taylor a second time, and probably the people below him. He definitely is going to be someone that people are going to dodge and make him think twice about taking him as an opponent.
The first Frenchman that people may dodge, because Prograis is, the biggest boxer I can think of from France was Glassjaw Joe in the spoiler alert from our 13th round. But yeah, interesting that you have a guy that lost to a guy lower down on your list, but you made a great point about it was a controversial fight, and that was your fight of the week as well. I hope you guys all watched that fight, because it was as Judge Jimmy just talked about, it's a great fight to watch. Very controversial fight. I'd be curious to see, put it in the comments below, how you scored that fight. Filthy Rich, he's got Prograis at number 2. I know you don't, because you had him at 4. Who do you have as your number 2?
I had this.
You don't even want to talk about it.
I want to know.
This is one of the strangest things I feel so defeated. I don't know how you did this. You touched on something earlier, and it just makes me want to jump off the subject for a little bit, and I've already lost my train of thought. It's not even about trivia. It's about something. And look, do I have to go? Oh, man.
Yeah, you have to go.
Yeah,
I want to know who your number 2 is.
Number 2, I got Robert Easter Jr. at number 2.
Wow.
I have Robert Easter Jr. at number 2. Maybe you have him at number 1. I don't know who your number 1 is. I have Robert Easter.
Fair enough.
At number 2. So I know I've been I wouldn't say ripping on him, but he did. I thought he lost to Richard Comey. I also thought he could have had a draw in that fight, just like Golovkin Canelo. I thought that fight went to Golovkin, but I could see it being a draw. At least the second fight I'm talking. I thought Golovkin won, but at best it was a draw. Same way with Easter and Comey. I thought that fight went to Comey, but it could have been a draw. I don't think Easter really won that fight. Other than that, he beat Javier Fortuna and Adrian Granados. I don't know if people understand how much I like Adrian Granados. The Chicago guy. Dude lost Danny Garcia got knocked out. I don't know what happened there, but I'm an Adrian Granado's guy. I think that is one of the big wins Terrence Crawford has on his resume.
One of the only ones.
Let's not do that right now.
Quit poking the bear.
He lost to Mikey Garcia, but you know what? Everyone kind of loses to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is a beast. He moved up 2 weight classes to fight Errol Spence, and yeah, he got owned by Errol Spence. Anyone moving up 2 weight classes is gonna get owned by Errol Spence. So yeah, he lost to Mikey Garcia. There's no shame in losing to Garcia. He had the I think it was Rancis, not Ledwan, Rancis Bartholomew with a draw. I thought he beat Bartholomew. I think Bartholomew gets all this extra credit for whatever, and I'm not gonna sit here and rip on boxers.
Does his hair dye?
I think he's the one with red hair or blonde. I think
his changes.
His brother had the blue hair last I saw. I don't know. I think he had the blonde during that fight, but let's leave that alone. I have to, again, why I put Josh Taylor and Prograis at 3 and 4 is their body of work. They haven't really stepped in the ring with anyone, but Robert Easter is taking on some pretty big names. I think if we're talking the 5 through 10 division, or 5 through 10 in this division, Robert Easter has at least come across paths with these guys. And that's why I have him at number 2.
You don't find Robert Easter more of a lightweight than a junior welterweight?
Yeah, I had him at 135.
Yeah,
in that division.
Is that what's going on here? Is that why this is the big shot?
But you're, I mean, you.
I'm just saying, it shocks me.
Depending on what list you look at, he's in the IBO. He is definitely listed.
We probably
40.
We probably should have discussed this, but I have Easter at 2. If I were to shuffle things around and take him out of this division, I would move everyone up and put. Do I need to? Do we want to?
No, I mean, here
it doesn't matter. Oh, you're good, dude.
He's definitely a junior welterweight, but he's made more of a name for himself in the lightweight division. He's moving up. I mean that. I was just shocked that you had him
division. I had him in the 135 division, so he wasn't in consideration for me. Okay. So maybe that was our bad on that.
Boxing Rex got him at number 10. ESPN and Boxing Rec have both met number 10 at the junior welterweight. So, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of junior welterweight fights.
The Rings got him at 135, so who's to say who's right? 40. Either way, I didn't have him on my list.
I was shocked by it, but I like he does have great wins. And he's moving up. I was just shocked that you had it there. I mean,
they're all also at 135. So I guess I understand. I do understand. If I have to move him out.
You don't.
No, you don't. You're good, dude. I'll tell you right now, if I put him in, Hooker would be off my list.
Yeah.
And if I took him out, Hooker would be on my list.
Oh,
I suppose at this, we'll see if we agree at number 1.
Here's what I say about it is the fact that you think, he was a lightweight. He has moved up to the junior welterweight, and you have him at 2, which tells me that you think he's that good a fighter that he can move up and he's instantly in your number 2 in the junior after moving up, that tells me a lot about what you think about Robert Easter Jr. And, his only loss is against Mikey Garcia. I mean, that's a respectable loss.
Again, I thought he lost to Comey. I thought the best it could have been was a draw. He for sure didn't win that fight, and he did get the win. So that's a little
split decision against Comey. Yeah.
Or wait, he got the win. It was but it was a split decision, so it wasn't a draw. It was my bad. It was he did beat Comey. I didn't think he did.
He had a draw against Bartholomew.
Comey the win.
Yeah, he had a draw against Bartholomew.
If I need to remove him, I'm just moving guys up, and I would put. You know what?
You're good, man.
It would look like straight up. It would be Hooker at 5, Postal at 4, Prograis at 3, Taylor at 2. So we would have Taylor,
let me before you jump in on that. Adrian, who he just beat, is a 140. I mean, he beat him.
Fought at 147 with Garcia. His last fight, Adrian Granado's fought at 147 versus Garcia.
That was a 147 fight.
With Danny Garcia was at
No, I'm
147.
talking about when he fought Robert Easter.
When Adrian Granados fought Robert Easter. I'm not sure where that fight was.
It was at 140. It was at 140.
Okay.
And he beat Granados, who is a 140. He's a 140 fighter. I mean, he's a good 140 fighter. He's a very good 140 fighter.
Well, we can keep talking about it, man, but I think we should just move on. He's got him at number 2. I didn't.
No, I
consider
agree.
him. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Let's get it. Let's keep it moving, huh? Let's not get fixated on it. All right. Easter
I apologize.
Easter at 2. All right.
I was just talking about as a judge here. I'm just talking about I was pleasantly surprised. Is that okay?
Well, where would you put Easter then? Jimmy James, where do you put Easter? Do you put him at 2 and move everyone down? Do you put him at 5 and just move Hooker out?
I'm not 100% sure on where I would toss him in there. He'd probably be
well, Easter is a 140 fighter.
He'd probably be at 3.
Yeah, he's a good fighter.
For me.
He's a good fighter.
Would be my guess.
So we're gonna
maybe
match
3
on
or 4.
1.
Maybe 3 or 4.
All right, well,
match on
let's move on. Let's
move on and find out.
Champion here. We don't know. I feel like you guys are missing a big fighter on your that has not been mentioned yet. So we may have a BAB champion for the 140 division. Filthy Rich, as the defending champ, you get to go first. Who do you have at your 140?
Is it on me? Is it really on me?
Yes.
All right, I got Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez. Judge Jimmy James, who do you have at your 140?
I got JCR as well. Jose Carlos Ramirez.
Okay, congratulations to Jose Ramirez. You are a BAB champion at 140-pound division. Congratulations. We will now follow you on Twitter. And please, hit us up on Twitter and talk to us. And we would love to interview you on the show. Come on the show. This is the most prestigious title you have ever won in your entire career. And the most prestigious title you'll ever win in your career.
I don't know about all that. I don't think he'll come on the show now.
Well, he should, because BAB champions, that's the one you want to win. Filthy Rich, as the defending champ, you have the first crack at why you think Jose Ramirez is the 140 champion.
Look, I did not think this was happening, but I think Jose Carlos Ramirez is the right guy for this because of the body of work. One more time. And are you ready for this one?
I'm ready.
He's beaten Maurice Hooker and Jose Zapata and Antonio Orozco. And you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Amir Imam. Not Amir Khan, Amir Imam. Oh, we can still roll the graphic,
No,
right?
we can't hit the graphic, and then we're actually talking about Amir. No. I know you were talking about it in the meeting. No. We only talk about him when it's appropriate.
Well, that's no fun if you can't roll the graphic. But look, again, he is one of the protected fighters from Bob Arum. He can only beat who Bob Arum lines up in front of him. And these names are tough dudes. You're not gonna see them on top 10 lists. Maybe fringe 10 lists. Well, like Hooker. But like Zapata and Orozco, you're not going to see they're fringe guys, even Amir Imam. But them 3 boys, including Hooker, I guess you could say, give it their all. They are swinging hard. They are trying to get a knockout. They're not trying to get that 12th round or the 10th round. You get paid by the rounds. You get paid when the fight's over. Jose Ramirez is fighting some tough dudes, and he is beating them all. He's got I think he's 20-something wins, 25 wins or something like that. But you line him up, and he's beating them. I don't know if he beats like the Josh Taylors and the Regis Prograis, but as for now, I think he's a deserving number 1 guy.
Wow. All right, Judge Jimmy James, who you got? I mean, you have Ramirez, but why is Ramirez number 1?
Yeah, he does have some good body work, just like you said. Zapata ain't no joke either. He is 76 knockout percentage. He's 31-2 with 25 knockouts. So, and the Hooker fight, I honestly thought Hooker was gonna come up and whoop him. And Ramirez, he's one of these people who seems to get stronger when he gets hit. He seems to get meaner when he gets hit. He gets better when he gets hit. So it's really weird to watch him fight because he seems like he's lollygagging, and then all of a sudden he gets like a 1-2 to the face and the body, and then he's like, nope, and just starts like a tiger pouncing on you. No, I mean he does do the Mexican style. I mean, he does move forward. He's got some above average power with some hands. He's 27-0 with 17 knockouts. So I mean, he's no joke. He won the U.S. lightweight spot in, I don't remember what year it was, and then lost in that. But he's a 2-time Golden Gloves champion and Olympic national champion. So, or a junior before he got big. But I mean, I still think that Ramirez needs to fight Prograis or Taylor. I think if he fights one of those guys, that's going to solidify himself in this division as number one. At that point, he might even be able just to move up and see what he can do there. So, yeah, that's about all I got on that guy.
I don't like you, Jimmy James.
I do like that he has Mateo on his trunks. For some reason, I like that. I don't know where I know Mateo from, but he's got that on his trunks. All right, boys. Time to judge this fight here. And going over it as I've been judging it here. And I have a 49-46. The judges have this one at 49-46 after 5 rounds. For the champion, Judge Jimmy James. Congratulations, Judge Jimmy James. You have won this week's Filthy 5, winning it 4 rounds to 1. Congratulations. After losing 4 rounds to 1 last week, you have come back. Great, congratulations. You have a free 30 seconds to talk about whatever you want. I hope after last week talking to you guys about this, that you had something prepared. I'm guessing you didn't, but your 30 seconds starts now.
Look, I just want to thank everyone for the kind words that you guys said earlier. Appreciate the praise to the wedding anniversary, all the nice words for the picture, the mural that we did inside the garage. Yeah, and go watch that trivia. You need to watch that trivia. That is fun stuff. Really bummed out that we missed it live, but we watched it on Sunday, and you can watch all those after they play too. So that's the good thing about that. So even if you do miss it, you can still go back and watch it. But Raider Live trivia, that's fun. And you guys, I love seeing you guys each week. Rich, until next week for you, buddy. Champion.
Well, as I say, I do love that you guys spend your 30 seconds every week on me, and I really appreciate that. But, you know,
next week. I'm not talking about you next week when I win.
Well, you may not win next week. But
hey.
I actually guarantee you won't win next week because we'll talk about that later. But Judge Jimmy James, for now, as we'll talk about later, is at least a champion for the next 2 weeks. So congratulations on that, Judge Jimmy James. For taking it down 4 rounds to 1 in the 140 division. And also congratulations to Jose Ramirez for winning the BAB championship at 140, the most prestigious title you ever win. All right, boys, let's move on to the 13th round. You guys ready? Well, Rich ain't ready, but are you ready, James?
I'm ready.
I'm not ready. Bring it on.
All right, this week in the 13th round, we talked about in the meeting that, by the way, the 13th round is something that we talk about in sports that not necessarily boxing, but could be boxing. This week we're talking boxing video games, and we were talking about this in the meeting about our favorite video games that are boxing. Obviously, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is a great one, but we also had some other ones that we talked about. Judge Jimmy James, what is your favorite boxing video games as the champ? You can go first.
I mean, there's been quite a few, not quite a few, but there's been a couple that I've really enjoyed. Obviously, Punch-Out is just your number one classic. But for me, going through all of the games that I've personally played, I really enjoy Fight Night Champion. That's got to be the most real one for me. I really enjoy it. It really gives me a feel and gets me pumped up to go watch boxing after I play this, especially jumping up the ranks and fighting people with real, real people in real time and things like that. So it's a really fun game. That's got to be mine for sure. If you haven't played it, you should go play it. It's backwards compatible on the Xbox right now too, so you can get that downloaded and play it if you have EA access.
Well, I didn't know that it was backwards compatible because if that's the case, I'm going to download it and play you right now and. Well, not now, but this weekend, and dominate your face. Because if I remember right, you can have the legends in that. You can have Muhammad Ali in that one. Is that correct?
Well, you can, but you just go ahead and pick whoever, and I will whoop you.
I mean, I stopped loving the guy after he changed the name of Cassius Clay. I mean, what's up with that? I mean, his mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. What do you think about Filthy Rich? What's your favorite boxing video games?
So I think we briefly scratched the surface on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I still play Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. But to get away from it for a little bit, I have a bunch of games, but the N64 version, I don't know if it came out with another one, but for N64, Ready to Rumble.
Yes.
With my guy Afro Thunder.
With the smiley faces on his boxing gloves.
Yeah, and he was on the cover of the game. You would go to the gym and work out. You hit the weights, or you could jump the rope. You could do whatever you did. Move around the ring when it comes fight night, and it was what it was. I haven't played it in a while, so I'm not feeling as nostalgic as I would with Tyson's Punch-Out, but I have a strong feeling you'll get more out of me next week when I win back my strap that rightfully belongs here. Especially Jimmy James saying you're gonna beat him. You ain't beating Raider live because.
Well, first off, you can't win your belt back next week, and we'll talk about why later. And you know why later. You just forgot. Second off. If we're talking about boxing video games, I want to throw my 2 cents in here because I haven't been in a while here. Ready to Rumble boxing is so much fun. Fight night, I played against friends of 2/3 of the show, Matt Seabach, and he's ridiculously good in that. But I do love having Cassius Clay as my fighter in that one. But I will drop a couple things your way. First off, did either of you guys beat Mike Tyson when you were kids? Fighting him? I didn't beat him till I was an adult.
I haven't beaten him as an adult.
No? How about you, Judge Jimmy James? Have you beaten Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
I think I beat him less than 5 times, and I don't know. I would have to say I probably did that as an adult.
Yeah.
I felt like I got way too frustrated playing it when I was a kid, man.
Yeah, I remember I couldn't get past Mr. Sandman as a kid. But as an adult, I finally beat him. But it was because the age that we were in, the internet, you can learn. Whoa!
I know, I heard that.
That was a doe. but the game I want to bring up, which I talked about in the meeting, which you guys don't remember, was a little Nintendo thing called Ring King, which had a very conspicuous thing between rounds, and the trainer would get in the corner and do something.
Train.
Yeah. He'd train.
So there was a thing where I remember this very distinctly growing up. I went to Video Update, which was a video store in my town where you could rent video games. And I rented Ring King, and we were playing, and my dad walked in and said, "What is this?" He thought it was a bootleg pornography game because between rounds, the trainer does let's just say a very maybe I'll put the GIF in here. Hopefully, if I can find it, I'll put it in here. But it doesn't look good. And I showed it to you guys in the meeting, and you guys both go, "Is that real? That can't be a real thing, is it?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was the real thing." And as a kid, I didn't know what he was talking about. As an adult, I look at it and go, "Oh my God, that is awful." So if you haven't seen Ring King, if it's not in here because I can't find it, look that up. Between rounds, it's let's just say not PG-13. Let me put it that way. But I do love boxing video games. I think they need to have another. Wasn't there another one we were talking about that Roy Jones Jr. was on the cover of? Was that a fight?
Yeah, that's Fight Night Round 3.
Yeah.
That's the one that 2/3 of the show Matt Seabach is really good at.
Oh, okay. I thought he was at Champions. This is what he was good at. I know 3/3 or full friends of the show, Joe Sweat is really good at one of the fight nights. I can't remember.
I think he's good at both of them, actually.
Is he?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
force to be reckoned with.
Yes. So we're not going to put that down there, but if he watches this, we give you props. Not only were you good at that, NHL you were really good at it as well. We didn't even want to play him in NHL anymore because it was ridiculous. Like, let me throw this out there. Joe Sweat would play you without a goalie because he could beat you. That's how good he was at this game. But I like to touch on boxing video games. Any Filthy Rich, you got any other boxing video games you can think of?
Would you stop name dropping everyone? This is our show, man. If they want their show, they can get their own show. But
that's
as far as boxing video games, look, I got past Sandman. I couldn't get past Super Macho Man. I think I got past him once as an adult. I beat Sandman as a kid. Couldn't beat Super Macho Man as a kid, but I beat him as an adult. After that's Mike Tyson. I don't know if you guys have seen one of those late night shows. Am I going to name drop here? Doesn't matter. Mike Tyson fights Mike Tyson.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
On Tonight Show with the
Jimmy
guy from
Fallon.
the SNL. What was his
Jimmy
name?
Fallon. Yeah. You
Fallon,
can watch that. That's a pretty good video to watch.
Where Tyson gets knocked out in the first 10 seconds.
I mean, he kind of laughed about why would anyone even want to play this? This is ridiculous. Like, it's impossible. You wasted your money. I mean, he may as well have said that.
Well, actually, I learned a little bit about the story of this. Nintendo paid him a bunch of money to have a boxing thing with his name on it. And Tyson at the time was just signing things to get paid and never played the game, never saw the game, never looked at the game. And then apparently the contract was up and they didn't want to pay Tyson more money. And this was right after he lost to Buster Douglas. And they're like, well, we're not going to pay him the same amount of money that we just had. So that's when they came out with just straight Punch-Out. And they replaced Mike Tyson with Mr. Dream at the end, which was if you have that copy, it's Mike Tyson, but he's white, and it makes no sense. But Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, I remember that from my youth. Never could beat Sandman was really tough. He had that triple uppercut, and then Super Macho Man had that whirlwind punch. I remember that. You guys ever play the Super Nintendo version of Super Punch-Out? You guys like that one at all?
I was a Sega Genesis guy. Never had an SNES.
Yeah, I played it a little bit, but not. I played more Nintendo and Sega Genesis when I was growing up. So.
Yeah, I like the Super Nintendo version. I beat that one right away. I mean, it was a lot easier, but maybe that's what they were doing.
Sounds made up.
Do
you remember
I'll put the video down of me beating it then you'll...
Do you remember the Will Smith song, I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson?
No.
Check it out sometime.
I bet you have the CD of it.
I have the CD, the audio cassette. I got the whatever it is. But
is it right next to your Roy Jones Jr. CD?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But like after that, I remember after that video came out, obviously, well, there's a video for it. And like shortly after the video, at least when I saw the video, then he lost to James Buster Douglas. I never saw that video again, but you guys can go look it up, man. It's kind of cool. Whatever.
Let me ask this quick question here as we're talking about that. We've talked about it in person, or not in person, but like in meetings, and I think we probably talked about it in person, the Tyson Buster Douglas fight. I know Filthy
We're not
Rich,
talking about that now.
We're
going
bring it up
2
real
hours,
fast.
man.
I feel like you've said many times that Tyson would have won that fight if it wasn't for the slow count.
We'll talk about that another time. Yes, that is
you don't
very
bring it
true.
up now?
It's not about the slow count. It's about 2 referees having 2 different counts. Look at it, like you can see it. It's right there. Well, I'll rewatch that fight, and I will show you. I will point out the round. I don't know off the top of my head, but when Tyson goes down the first time, one referee outside is at like 6, and when the referee in the ring picks up the count, he picks it up at 4. Or wait, that's Buster Douglas was down.
Buster Douglas was down. Now Tyson.
Douglas was down.
Yeah, Douglas.
Referee was at 6 outside the ring. When he went to go check on Douglas, he started at 4. I think we all know this, but that, if we really want to get into depth, we have to do that another time.
But do you think Douglas wasn't going to – you don't think he was waiting until 9 to get up?
Watch next week.
All right. All right. I won't bring it up now. Judge Jimmy James looks like he doesn't want to talk about that one. Do you have any comments about that, Tyson? What's that?
Just getting tired, man. So, no, I don't have any comments on that.
All right, let's move on to the Filthy Fan question of the week. All right, the Filthy Fan question of the week comes from Tony in Minneapolis, and I like this question a lot. He asks, who would win in a mythical fight between Clubber Lang and Ivan Drago? All right, Filthy Rich, let's start with you on that one. Ivan Drago versus Clubber Lang.
The Filthy Fan question of the day. You start with me, and
always
we go to Jimmy James. Look, this is. I had a difficult time with this. I watched Clubber Lang versus Rocky, and the guy uses both hands. He has the footwork. He has virtually zero defense, but
dangerous.
He's got something in there. I don't want to get into too much detail right now. As far as Drago goes, I mean, he's kind of known for killing Apollo Creed in what was an exhibition fight. Hello, Tyson Holyfield people. Let's go back to square one.
I wanted to bring that up earlier, but I didn't.
It was an exhibition fight where he killed Apollo Creed. I don't know what his real background is, but he's fighting a past his prime Rocky. And Rocky they go like 12 rounds. What I don't remember. I think it went 12 rounds or whatever.
15, man.
Was it 15?
15 round fights. He knocked him out.
Fair
Rocky
enough. It went
the 15th.
At the end of the day, it went the distance. Where at least
Rocky knocked him out in the 15th.
Call it what you want. It went the distance. As far as Clubber Lang went, Clubber Lang pounded Rocky. Was it the second round? First round? Second round, I think.
Second round, he knocked him out. Yeah.
And then the second fight, I think Clubber Lang went in there with
third round. He got knocked out.
Whatever you want. Stop interrupting me. This is my show. So here's the deal. It's a joke. Relax. Here's the deal. I got Clubber Lang winning this fight. What do you guys think?
Judge Jimmy James, what do you think? Because I have a lot of things to say about this.
Oh boy, here we go. It's the Raider Live show again.
To be honest, I mean it's Drago, man. It's Drago. I understand Clubber Lang. I pity the fool who takes somebody against Ivan Drago. Rocky got lucky. He has killed a man. Drago has killed somebody.
Did Drago pass? Wait, did Drago pass Vada?
There ain't no Vada in Russia.
Vada. He doesn't pass a Vada.
There ain't no Vada in Russia. You think Clubber Lang is all? You think he ain't eating no tainted meat, taking them roids? It's Clubber Lang, man. You'll get that name by being all clean. I think Ivan Drago knocks him out. Clubber Lang down. Drago, I must break him.
I got Clubber Lang winning this one. Go ahead.
If he dies, he dies.
Okay, Tony, first, thank you for that question because I love the Rocky movies. I mean, there's no question about it. I love Rocky. I mean, but of all the Rocky movies, my favorite line in all the Rocky movies is when the reporter talking to Clubber Lang before the fight says, Clubber, do you have a prediction for tonight's fight? And he goes, prediction? Yeah, prediction. Looks right at the camera and goes, pain. Clubber Lang is a beast. He doesn't have the lungs, obviously, as Rocky pointed out, but he's from that poor man's district. He trains on ropes in his dope. He trains on ropes in his house. He's hungry. He's mean, and he doesn't care if his opponent dies or not. Drago, that was a Russia versus America kind of thing. And I don't think he intentionally killed Apollo Creed. I think he's just like, if he dies, he dies.
You sure about that?
Clubber Lang wanted to kill you. That being said, I haven't seen Clubber Lang go past round 3. He ran out of juice. Drago's gone 15 rounds, and he is a beast. Give me Drago. I'll take Drago knockout in the 6th round. But that's a great question. I mean, we saw Drago. I don't know if you guys watched the Creed movies, Creed 1 and Creed 2, but we saw Drago come back in Creed 2, and it was a great movie. Did you guys watch that one?
No.
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great movie. And, his son is fighting Apollo Creed's son and that one. And he's just a beast. Creed, in that movie, in Creed 2, Drago shows he has heart. He has a heart.
Don't spoil this thing. Stop it. Stop. Don't.
I'm not saying who wins the fight. I'm just saying he shows that he has a heart. And heart is a big thing in boxing. So, of all the intangibles, I give it to Drago because he's got heart and he's got lungs. That's where I'm getting at.
Look, we're running long here.
We are running long.
I will give you more detail. I wanted to keep this short. We can do a filthy 5 of Rocky opponents another time and get.
Well, there's only like 5, right?
Well, whatever you want to call it. But
we got Apollo Creed, Spider Rico. We got
Thunder somewhere in there. So let's talk about it another time.
All right.
I have some more to say. Maybe episode 20 or something. I don't know.
well, maybe we'll get that. But Tony from Minneapolis, thanks for your question. We definitely want to get into that a little more because
thanks, Tony.
That was a great question that we love to talk about. All right, let's move on to the fight of the week. All right, this week's fight of the week is a little different because, gentlemen, this is our 9th show, which means next week is our 10th show. I went to Sesame Street. I understand that. 10th show. And our 10th show is going to be something special. We're going to have a super show. And why I keep saying that Rich ain't going to win his title back next week is because we're going to have a combined list, a top 10 of our combined pound-for-pound rankings next week. So Filthy Rich is going to have to wait till episode 11. We have a couple other surprises coming up on episode 10. But it's going to be the super show. It's going to be a longer show. So we all decided that we're all going to have our fight of the week this week. We're all going to throw in a Judge Jimmy James fight of the week. Probably with somebody in our top 10, but not necessarily because we all have to vote on it's a consensus top 10 for our pound for pound rankings of current pound for pound rankings. First off, I'll go first because it's my channel. And my fight of the week would be Triple G versus Canelo 1. Now, why I have this one is this is the fight that we've all wanted to see as boxing fans for a long time because I was a big Triple G guy. I still am a big Triple G guy. And I always wanted to see him fight Canelo. And after watching that fight, we all watched it at Judge Jimmy James' house. And he smoked some marvelous chicken wings for about 6 hours. They were delicious. But as satisfied as I was with the wings, I was not satisfied with the fight because it was not a draw, in my opinion. Triple G won that fight. He definitely won that fight. The only thing I hate about it is that Triple G refused to go to the body for some reason for that fight and the next fight. We've all talked about it that we all felt that Triple G won that first fight. The second fight, we all thought he either won or was a draw in the second fight. But for the fight of the week, for me, Triple G Canelo 1 was a culmination of what I wanted to see because it was my favorite fighter in it and to prove that he was the greatest in that division. What do you boys think?
Well, do you want to know what we think about that fight, or should we move on with our fights?
I want to know what you think about that fight briefly, and then we'll move on to your guys.
I don't want to say too much about that fight. It is definitely a contender for what we're looking for next week as far as
I think they'll both be in our top 10. Agreed?
Well,
I'm not agreeing to anything.
don't want to say any. Yeah, I'm not. I don't want to say anything either.
Yeah,
I agree with not saying anything.
You agree that Triple G probably won that first fight?
It's the way I see it, but
Filthy Rich?
obviously not the judges.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay, so Filthy Rich is Adelaide Bird, apparently. And
Not really, not at all. It has nothing to do with Adelaide Bird. It just has to do with I'm not saying anything. You have to watch it yourself, and then next week we can talk about it.
Next week we are definitely going to do debate that. We also may have some other surprises for next week, so please tune in and then share it with your friends. I'm going to have a Facebook thing about it, and hopefully it's going to be a giant event. Filthy Rich, who do you have as your fight of the week?
So I've got Leo Santa Cruz and Abner Mares 1. This is one where two little dudes are just scrapping, throwing haymakers. I don't want to say how long this fight goes. There's a lot of punches thrown, a lot of punches landed. I believe there was a record set. So watch it. That should tell you that it probably goes the distance, but I don't want to give that part away. But check out Leo Santa Cruz versus Abner Mares, part 1.
All right, Judge Jimmy James, who do you have as your fight of the week?
My fight of the week is going to be Vasyl Lomachenko against Jorge Linares.
Oh, you changed it.
That's the end of his Nomaschenko, where Linares actually didn't quit in the corner. But that is a very good fight. I recommend watching that one. That's a good showcase of his skills and probably one of his toughest opponents that he's faced today.
Yeah, Linares, he fought him tough. He wasn't going to quit. And, I mean, it's not a spoiler because everyone knows that Lomachenko's only lost the one fight, and he's amazing. And I guarantee that Lomachenko is probably going to make our top 10 in there, and Santa Cruz will probably make it. Triple G and Canelo both probably make it. Probably not Linares. I don't think Linares is going to make it, but you never know. You're going to have to tune in next week to find out. So those are what it is. I want to talk a little bit before we go here, boys, about our 10th episode coming up next week. I'm very excited about this. It's going to be a longer special. As I said, we're going to have a top 10 pound-for-pound list next week. We're going to have, obviously, we're going to have Brews and News. We're going to have a 13th round. We may have a special guest on the 13th round. I'm not going to talk about that yet. Question of the week, we're going to have that for sure. I don't know if we're going to have fight of the week, but maybe we'll talk about several different fights that we liked about. We haven't talked about exactly that. But we have a lot of fun, special things planned for our episode 10. And I want to thank all the viewers that have watched us so far. Episode 10 means we're 2.5 months in. And it's amazing how much the show has changed since we first started out. And I really appreciate and love all you followers that watch our show, that love boxing, because obviously all three of us here love boxing. And we try to bring that love to you every week to show you how much we love boxing.
We love you, Raider Live.
Thanks, brother. And so episode 10 is going to be a big deal. I want you guys to all share to your friends and like the video that episode 10 is coming out. It's going to be a big deal. As I said, we're going to film it next Wednesday. We're going to have a top 10 pound for pound list of current pound for pound, which is going to be a list that we all agree on we're on our own lists, and then it's going to be a point system. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to go through all our 10 lists. It's probably going to be a longer show. It's going to be probably be about 2 hours.
No more Brews and News for you, man. Too many brews tonight. Too many
It's going to be a lot of brews
tonight,
yeah.
Raider Live.
But by the end of it, it's going to be like me in the front yard. I apologize. But so 9 episodes in, going into 10, I just want to say thank you very much to Filthy Rich, and thank you very much to Judge Jamie James. Love you both very much. Love doing this show with you every week. And if you guys have any things else you want to talk about episode 10 coming up, Filthy Rich, go ahead and start with you.
No, excited for it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know if you're watching. Tell me what's good. Tell me what's bad. Tell me why I should be winning every week, and I'm not. That's all I got. But I'll have more for you when I win, and my shout-outs when I win. I guess I got to wait 2 weeks, but we're going to wait.
Not only that, but you're going to be looking pretty dapper, as the rumor is, next week. Judge Jimmy James, you got any comments about you joined the show at episode 6, I believe. This is your 4th episode in, and going to episode 5. Any comments you got coming into 10?
Tune in and see what our active pound for pound list looks like, man. It should be interesting. Should be a lot of debate, because I can guarantee that it is not going to be the same. And if you want, comment below and see what yours is too. We'd love to hear that from anybody watching. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely true. And I guarantee you this, judging on the meetings that we have that are not recorded, we have a lot of arguments, as you probably seen about the Terrence Crawford things. We have significant arguments about where it is. So when we have our top 10 list and you see the point system comes out, we're going to argue different points of where we are. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting TV. I'll just point it out that way. And I'm going to point out one more time that I hope, not saying, but I hope, friend of the show, Amir Khan makes the top 10 pound for pound list.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's debate that one next week.
You're going to have to tune in next week to find out if Amir Khan makes our top 10 list. But hopefully he does. If he doesn't, it's going to be Judge Jimmy James' fault, because me and Filthy Rich love Amir Khan. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, go ahead, blame it on Terrence Crawford. I'd like to do that.
Because sometimes you get hit in the testicles. All right, this is episode 9 of Brews&Boxing for Filthy Rich and Judge Jimmy James. I am Raider Live. Thank you very much for joining in. See you guys next week. Please join in and share and like the video, please, because that actually helps our YouTube channel out immensely. And tune in for our episode 10 next week, our super show. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Until then, boys, I'll see you next week.